it. Cobb. Touchdown.
Graham for also quiet.
Rodgers surveying, fires. That's caught. Randall Cobb into Chicago territory. Randall Cobb inside the 20-yard line. Randall Cobb is going to score.
Welcome in, everybody, to another edition of Open Book here on Game On Wisconsin. As we've been talking about all week, we are hoping Packers tight end Dominique Dafney will be joining us in the next few minutes. But until he does, there's a ton of news that we have going around the Packers, going around the NFL, obviously with free agency starting. So, Zach, just watching the beginning of free agency, obviously to kick it off, Sunday, Packers finally make the big move, sign Aaron Jones. Jen, yep, here we go. We got it going today. A move that
I didn't get the memo, but whatever.
You didn't because you left the show when we talked about it last week.
Or
so
maybe,
in like the 5 minutes I was gone, you guys talked about that?
Yeah, we conspired an entire plan without you, and it worked perfectly. But I mean, I don't think any of us were expecting that. I know I wasn't, but what was your initial reaction when you saw the deal? How do you feel about the money? Now it's looking more like a 2-year deal, with the last 2 being pretty optional. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, to address the whole Dominique Dafney thing first, we're not ruling out that he will be here. Just so, anybody watching, he will probably show up at some point. We know the lives of NFL players are very, very, busy. And we are very grateful for them to take the time to come on shows with people like us. So if they can, it's great. If they can't, then we totally understand. If they're going to be here, then we'll see. So hopefully Dafney shows up. But as far as Aaron Jones, I mean, I was really surprised because I was kind of like reserved to the fact that he wasn't going to be back. It was going to be AJ Dillon's backfield. That was going to be the guy just spearheading those operations in 2021 and beyond. So initially, and I tweeted this too, initially when I looked at it, it's a 4-year, $48 million deal. Obviously, that looks kind of daunting at first, for a running back. Obviously, the whole don't pay running backs charade, that Pro Football Focus seemed to kind of like start. But then you kind of look, you see the specifics of the deal. And like you said, it's more of like a 2-year deal. I mean, you look, his base salary for the next 2 years combined is like just north of $2 million. It's like $1 million this year and 1.1 next year.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous. And then after that, he'll have that, that roster bonus that's due on like the 3rd day or something of the new league year in 2023. And that's when the Packers will have to make that decision whether or not they want him back. But by then he'll be 28, I think. He'll be in like his late 20s, which, by that time in a running back's career, they start that downward trajectory, which, it's inevitable. We don't know what's going to happen with Aaron Jones, but, that the Packers are at least they're giving him this long-term financial security while at the same time keeping this stud running back who is like, I want to make this clear to, everybody. He's so much more than a running back. Like that guy makes their offense go. He's a receiver. He is a running back. He has gotten so much better in pass protection. He is the catalyst behind the way their offense operates. So it was important that they brought him back, even though we all thought that they wouldn't. So I love the deal.
Yeah, I mean, Jen, clearly, as we're both wearing his sweatshirts, I'm sure you were happy about the deal. But, moving forward now, you got Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, and that's what, we've been kind of dreaming about as a 1-2 punch, the lightning thunder that people always talk about. So what do you think Dillon's role is going to be now? I mean, not everyone, but there are always going to be a certain part of Packers Twitter that complains no matter what they do. So for the people crying about AJ Dillon was a 2nd-round pick, why would you pick him and then pay a running back? What is your answer to that, and how they're still going to involve Dillon? I would imagine like they involved Williams last year.
I mean, we didn't know if the Packers were going to keep Jones or Williams. So drafting Dillon, it makes sense looking back, like kind of hindsight. He has a year of NFL experience, and we kept Jones, so it really worked out. Lost Williams, so now he is still number 2 back. But I think, we think we know everything, but we don't. The front office knows what they're doing, and to get him in here, get a year under his belt, I think it's gonna be huge for him because he's obviously gonna take over that second role. So I think, and him and Jones, they have very different run styles, which I love. I love when you can bring in 2 dynamic running backs who do very different things for the game. So he's going to be crucial in blocking, of course. And he had his breakout games last year, so we can only hope that he can continue that as a second back. And I know people are kind of like, well, why would you sign somebody in the second round to split carries? Well, sometimes Aaron Jones' run style works, sometimes AJ Dillon's style works. So it all depends. But, when Dillon balls out, people aren't going to complain anymore about where they drafted him. And it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, it was a second rounder. Hindsight, who cares? He's a great pick, and you don't know who would have fallen. I don't remember the depth of the running back class last year, but, you never know what's going to happen. This is a position that is vulnerable with injuries. And if we got rid of Jones and Williams this offseason and you bring in Dillon and then something, God forbid, happens, now what? So I think I like the depth that they have. And I think going forward, I'm really happy with what's going on.
Yeah.
And I promise you too, when how he was just destroying the Titans defense in December, when people see that next year and the year after, regardless of, whether Aaron Jones is in the backfield or not, when people see Aaron Jones just decimating the guys on the other side, they're not going to sit there and be like, oh, you spent a second round pick on him. He's running back, but they brought Aaron Jones back. No one's going to give a shit. I promise.
Yeah. Everyone wants to complain about it now. While in the meantime, we just watched the season where Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones essentially split carries. Like, Jamal played a ton and he was valuable and he was good. And when he had good games, no one complained about it. No one was saying, why is Jamal Williams getting these touches? He was making them worth it. So if AJ Dillon is what we saw in that Titans game, no one's going to cry that Aaron Jones on the sidelines having a chance to stay healthy and prolong his prime for however long that's going to be, as opposed to other running backs we've seen teams just wear them out, use them on almost every down, and boom, then that's when you get stuck in a bad running back contract. Like, let's just say Todd Gurley, for example, who took every snap, got a massive deal, and then was essentially useless later because he was just worn out and injured. So I think, like Lambeau LeBeau said, basically every team rolls with 2 running backs in the NFL now. Very rarely are you going to find a team that just has one guy for every snap. It's basically just Christian McCaffrey, and we saw he just missed an entire season. So I'm not worried about Jones and Dillon together, but there is some news that just came out of the NFC North, which is Kyle Fuller being released by the Bears. Fuller and Hayward, that would be definitely a dream. But you have guys like Fuller, Hayward, and then, Richard Sherman, Xavier Rhodes, Malcolm Butler, still a lot of veteran cornerbacks on the market. That seems to be a market the Packers have been looking at. So looking at those group of guys, Hayward, Fuller, Sherman, maybe Adoree Jackson is someone I really like. Zach, who's someone you think the Packers could realistically maybe bring in as free agency goes on at cornerback?
Realistically,
yeah, realistically. That's the key. Realistically.
I don't know if you want my answer to that.
If you want to say no one, then that's also an answer realistically. But hopefully, there's someone in your mind you could think of.
I'll give you an answer from my perspective. If I was at the top in the Packers front office and I was making these decisions and I was looking at that market and I was saying, hey, you know what? There's some nice cornerbacks out there. I know I'm a little strapped for cash, but you know what? I'm just saying I would go after. I know it's not like the top pick, and a lot of people probably wouldn't love it because they have very bad experiences watching him, from his Seattle days. But I would love Richard Sherman, and I know everyone wants Kyle Fuller. They want to reunite Casey Hayward with the Packers, and
Zach, while we talk about the cornerbacks, we have to welcome a special guest onto the show. Dominique Dafney, how are you doing? It's so great to have you here. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, no problem, man. Great to see you guys.
What's up, Dominic? How are you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
I'm good.
Yeah,
just
thanks for doing this.
no problem. Just enjoying the off season.
That's what we figured. We know, the off season is kind of like gets a little busy for players. Everyone kind of like gets the impression that like the off season is just downtime, but we know, the off season can be pretty busy too.
There is no off season.
Yeah, like there's no such thing.
I mean, off season was like 2 weeks, about a week and a half, and then got right back into the gym.
Yeah, so where have you been spending your off time? Well, not off time, I guess, but where are you working out during the off season this year?
Right now, I'm back in Iowa, back at home, just working out at the same gym I was working out to get ready for pro day, and obviously just to train over the summer when everything was shut down. So right now, yeah, just back in West Des Moines.
All right, so yeah, I mean, I don't know much about Iowa, but I feel like it's the perfect place to just focus on working out and anything else involving the game, because I don't know what else there is to do out in Iowa.
It's Wisconsin, but with corn instead of
cheese. There you go. Just potatoes and cheese for the corn, yeah. And that's what you got in Iowa.
Pretty much.
I was gonna say, hey, we're getting comments here, Jen. Check out the hat.
Oh, yeah. Snap. As a Carhartt fan, here we go.
Yeah, I got a couple in the Carhartt ears.
All right, that's like my brand here, so
well,
already way cooler than these guys, if you weren't already.
Oh, okay. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, well, Carhartt's eventually going to have to sponsor this show, but until then, we'll just keep wearing their stuff until they notice. But Dominique, we were wondering, when it comes to going back to your college days, you transferred, I think, a couple times, and that always seems like an interesting process when a player transfers from one school to another. And you went from, Western Community College to Iowa to Indiana State. So what was that like constantly, being in a new school, in a new environment, maybe a new offense, trying to learn those new things? I don't know, basically on the fly. Like, what was that experience like?
I mean, it was definitely like you had to be very focused, obviously, because it's new. I mean, I had to learn 3 new offenses in 3 years because when I was at Iowa Western, obviously that's year 1, year 2, I was at Iowa, but then year 3 at Iowa, like all of our whole offense changed because we got new coaches. So it was like 3 years just in a row. I had to learn everything new. So that obviously took a lot of focus. And then, I don't know, just trying to take a lot of my mentality to that game from one place to another. So obviously in the JUCO life it's very grimy. It's very you're trying to get out pretty much. It's just funny because I just watched Last Chance U, the basketball version, but it's literally like you're there to get out. That's the whole purpose. So you just take that and then take the professional and the Big Ten intensity I had at Iowa and take that over to Indiana State, and then just the love of the game I got there and just try to bring that all together and just, show myself when I'm with the Packers.
Yeah, well, you've definitely shown out since getting to the Packers, and I would just imagine the transition, I mean, from a college playbook to an NFL playbook. I've never gotten the chance to see what it looks like physically, but I mean, is it completely different, much more complicated, complex, or did you feel like you had that training already before having so many switches?
There's definitely some carryover, I would say, from Indiana State to here, because a lot of our offensive coaches played in the NFL, or they came from Big Ten schools, so they brought that over. So there was definitely some carryover, but obviously this is just a different beast. There's much more shifts and, audibles that 12 could call, or he could do whatever. So there's just, obviously it's a lot more, but there was definitely some carryover that made it a little easier.
And then just kind of talking about transition stuff, I'm just curious, as an undrafted rookie, kind of what that journey was like. I think you went with the Colts first. You were there. I think you signed August, correct? And then they released you, and you ended up with the Packers. So I was just kind of curious how that journey is from an undrafted standpoint.
Again, just like college, just had to take it and just roll with it because obviously this is what I wanted to do. Like over the summer, it was my commitment to, yeah, obviously it was weird. Everybody felt weird. Like it was just a time that you can't really replicate or you couldn't really predict. So I just had to lock in and just, really commit to the whole process. So when I really committed to it, it was something that I wanted. And of course, going to the Colts and then getting back home, I'm like, I got a taste of it. So I'm not trying to there's nothing else I want to do now. Like there's no going backwards after that. So just getting the opportunity to be with the Packers, there was that my mentality was just there's no going back home. Like this is where I have to be for as long. If I have to be on the practice squad the whole year, that's perfectly fine with me. Just get in, learn the system, learn how to be a pro, learn how to be a tight end, obviously, because I had never been a tight end before. So just learn all that. Just take every bits and piece of information I could get from any of my teammates or coaches, and just try to be the best player I could be.
I feel like in case anybody isn't aware, in case you want to tell them your previous occupation before you got that call up to the NFL, I feel like it's fitting considering what you were tasked with doing in the Packers offense, with some of your blocking duties, your role on special teams. In case you want to just tell everybody about that.
Oh, being a bouncer at 3.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess I didn't really have to. I only kicked 5 people out, I'd say. Which, it was more than I definitely want to have to, but I guess using some.
There's 5 people out there who can say Dafney kicked me out of a bar. So
that's bragging.
I'm not really sure that they were in the state of mind to even realize it was me or would even make that correlation. But yeah, technically they could.
Yeah, they're going to look back on it now as a great memory as opposed to maybe just getting thrown out of a bar once. But yeah, definitely a better way to look at it. But you mentioned you weren't a tight end, and looking back at some of your college stats, you ran for 439 yards and 7 touchdowns. So you clearly have a lot of experience carrying the football. Any chance we're going to see you on some trick rushing plays for the Packers next year? Because that's what we want, some end arounds, jet sweeps. I feel like you going right behind Tunyon might be the perfect move.
I definitely wouldn't say no if they asked me to do that. Yeah, definitely would be okay with that.
I do want to kind of fast forward from the college to the pros a little bit and kind of a little further into your career with the Packers, going to your first touchdown. It was the second week. You had a catch for 13 yards the week prior. This week, another catch for 13 yards, except this one, your first career touchdown. Can you just kind of walk us through the design of that play? Because we broke it down, I think, the week after. It was that following week on this show. We broke that play down. And it looked like it was Devontae Adams. He was jogging kind of underneath. He drew in 3 guys, and you just kind of snuck behind through the secondary, and you were just kind of wide open in the end zone. Was that just always the design of the play? Was that always just going to come to you?
Honestly, the play, it was a 3-man slant concept type. So my job was to stay inside of the opposite hash. So pretty much to try to create space for Devontae, who was in the slot. So that was pretty much my job. But obviously he's scored almost every time we're in the red zone. Obviously he's a problem.
Looks like we might have some technical difficulties with Dominique, which is unfortunate. So I was about to pull up the touchdown you're talking about, and
there we go.
There we go. We lost you.
Welcome back.
I'm not sure what happened. What happened?
No, we were just talking about actually this touchdown right here, where you're lined. Right here in the slot, and then right now, at this point in the route, you're just seeing nobody in the end zone. I would imagine. Are you thinking right here, okay, this ball might be coming to me?
I was looking, obviously, but I wasn't expecting the ball at all. So when I saw the ball coming, I was just okay, what happened? So obviously, I just focused really hard to catch it. And again, that's why my feet went dead, because I was literally so focused on my hands and looking at the ball and catching the ball, because obviously I would have been very upset with myself if I would have dropped it. But,
Yeah.
I was just pretty much just supposed to create space for Devontae. Obviously, they went with him because, he's Devontae Adams. So that kind of just, left me wide open in the end zone.
And then I feel like I have to ask, because I've heard on multiple occasions about broken fingers. What was it like just for the first time catching passes from Aaron Rodgers? Was it unlike anything else you've ever experienced as a receiver, or?
I mean, it's a pretty nice ball, because it's usually like right on the money, which is funny because, usually you'd think you'd have to like do like all sorts of, or like he throws it really hard or something, but like he knows when to put touch on it, and obviously he knows when to fire it in there. But it's just like it's a good ball on me, like a higher percentage of the time.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers will do that for you. But a lot of people like to talk about the play right after your first NFL touchdown, when you laid out Cordero Patterson in just a monstrous hit, which we're going to play right here because I would love to see it myself.
Right, same field position, right around the 20. Bears settle for a field goal. Packers scored a touchdown as Patterson. They're going to make something happen.
Yeah, right here.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Return TDs. This time he gets belted as he's down around the 30-yard line. How in the world did Dafney, who by the way made that hit on special teams?
Yeah, so there you go. It was at that moment that he knew he fucked up coming up near you, because you just put him out right there. So I mean, looking back at that game, it's almost like, do you remember more your first touchdown, or do you remember laying out Cordell Patterson directly afterwards?
I mean, I'd say it was kind of like I was definitely riding a high for about like 10 minutes straight, simply going from the touchdown straight to that, because of course they were like, all my coaches were like, yeah, you scored, so what? Like, come make a touchdown or come make a tackle now. Because obviously I was on kickoff and everyone was trying to congratulate me, and I was late to get down there because everyone's like stopping me and trying to like slap me on the helmet or whatever. He's like, yeah, whatever. You scored a touchdown. Now come make a tackle. So, of course, then I made the tackle, and he was like, all right, okay. Now you can celebrate. And I'm like, yeah, all right, I will. But,
I feel like that was like your touchdown kind of got your name out there for those watching, and then putting that hit on Cordell Patterson just kind of solidified you in the Packer fandom, because obviously he's been a problem in the division for a while. So to see you come in and lay him out like that was huge, and everybody knows who you are now, especially because of that.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet, because obviously being from Iowa, there are a lot of Bear fans here. Even some of my close friends are Bear fans. They're like, it's tough because we love you, but obviously we're Bears fans, so we cheered for you for about that 30 seconds, and then we're just like mad because you guys were just killing us the whole game.
I can only imagine the text messages after the game from your buddies.
Yeah, pretty much just kind of the, hey, good job, but we still hate you won, obviously.
Yeah, beating up on the Bears, though, I mean, that's something you and your friends will just have to get used to. It's just kind of what the Packers do. So, yeah, we'll be looking forward to 2 more of those next year against Andy Dalton, by the way, which we haven't mentioned yet. Interesting signing to say, to go from the Russell Wilson to Andy Dalton discussion. But, looking at the rest of this division right now, not after free agency, but during free agency, a lot of moves. The Lions have been signing a lot of people. The Vikings made some moves. The Bears obviously bringing in Dalton. How do you see, the competition moving forward this year? Do you still see the Packers as the number 1 team, not only in the division, but potentially in the conference? Where do you feel the Packers line up right now amongst the rest of the NFC?
I mean, I still think we're going to be good. Obviously, I feel like we've kind of sat back a little bit and kind of just watched how the league is going, which, I mean, I kind of like. I mean, I want us to get our guys back, our core people that we need back. Obviously, I definitely hated to see Jamal and Tim leave, but I mean, obviously, they're still my boys. I want to see them eat regardless. So obviously, I'm happy for them. It's just obviously I hate that we won't get to see them in the locker room, but I still feel whenever we go back, we're all gonna be happy to see each other and just ready to get back to work and try to continue on the success that we had last year.
That's something I've tried like talking to people about. It's like having the perspective, like, no, yeah, the Packers, they've sat back kind of in free agency, like they haven't done some of the things that the other teams have done. But the extent that Aaron Jones, David Bakhtiari got his cash during the season, Kenny Clark got his cash in the summer. You know, if you look at through the lens, like, you know, those are kind of like free agent signings. I mean, they've secured their future, and like you said, they've kept the team together. They've kept the core parts of the team together, and they kept you guys in position to compete for you know, another year, get back to a third straight NFC championship and beyond that.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, just doing the work early. Like you said, it was during the season and during the summer. So then, like, you're trying to build around these guys now. And obviously the success we had during the season, obviously you want to move forward with those same guys. Like, obviously we're going to have new guys. Like, that's every year. No team's going to be the same ever, year after year. But obviously you want to have, like, your cornerstone that you move around, like the guys like Bakhtiari, Clark, you know, obviously Aaron, and dudes like Aaron Jones. Obviously those are the guys you want to, like, form your team around.
Yeah, and definitely. I guess just kind of on, like, unfortunately, the loss of Jamal Williams in the locker room, I just kind of want to know from your perspective, who do you think is kind of maybe going to try and fill his role, like his personality-wise? Who is going to have to step up and fill in for that?
I don't think that's possible.
Nobody
I mean, that's just him. Like, that's just who he is. I don't think there's replicating that without it being, like, genuine. Yeah. I mean, maybe another guy comes in, but I don't see that happening because I just feel like he's kind of just one of those guys, just one of a kind.
Yeah, Jamal was pretty special to watch. But now we have a real important question when it comes to food, which is a big topic here on the show. Hot sauce or ketchup, Dominique? When it comes to your topping, what are you going with first?
Well, I mean, what am I eating? It all depends.
Yeah, see, that's important context.
It is important, but let's just say, in general, what's your go-to? Hot sauce, ketchup, or here we go, eggs. It's been eggs.
You chose the worst. You chose the worst thing because I don't like eggs.
All right, so
he'd rather just eat the ketchup or hot sauce and leave the eggs on the side.
I mean, I'm like a chicken and pasta guy, so obviously I'm gonna go with hot sauce.
Hot sauce, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you there. I know that Jen is not, right? Yeah, Jen doesn't
hot
eat
sauce,
anything.
nothing spicy, nothing hot.
That's tough.
Can't do it.
That's tough.
Come on.
I know.
I'm
sorry.
Like a hot dog or hamburger or something beyond.
Well, I'm waiting for Eli to make fun of me for putting blue cheese on most things, but
yeah. Oh, see, I think Dominique agrees with that face. I mean, what's your opinion on blue cheese?
Oh yeah, Jen sits there with a tub of blue cheese.
Okay, I do not. I said I could if I wanted to maybe have a spoonful and not throw up, but that doesn't mean I do it.
That's just as bad. I don't know.
I'm getting really negative vibes from Dafney over here.
Can't agree with that one. I'll be honest.
At all? No blue cheese.
Blue cheese is fine, but I'm not about to just sit there with a bowl of blue cheese.
Okay, I don't do that though. I don't know why that keeps coming up as if I do. I think I said it out of context one time. Like, yeah, if I had to, I could. But
Yeah.
So you're choosing blue cheese over ranch, I assume.
For the most part, yes. I'll put blue cheese on like burgers. I'll dip fries, onion rings, wings, all that.
Yeah, rough. Yeah, Dominique, this is I think all of our reactions have been over the last few weeks as Jen continues her love of blue cheese across America.
I know. Carhartt and blue cheese has become my staple, I guess.
Yeah, we've had a hard time dealing with it as well. But there was another thing that was on my mind, especially when you mentioned that you've never played tight end before coming into the NFL. What was it like being in the same locker room as Mercedes Lewis, who has been in the NFL basically forever at playing tight end at a high level, especially their blocking? What was it like working alongside him?
It's actually funny because I was asking him. Obviously, I ask him a lot of questions just because. I mean, 15 years. That's a lot. That's a lot of time.
Yeah.
So I asked him a lot of questions. I was like, "Did you ever play with like what was it, like Ricky Williams or something? It was like a receiver back in like 2000, like his rookie year, I think." And he was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, believe it or not, that was the first NFL game I ever went to in my life." He was like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "Yeah, it was a game. You guys were playing the Raiders, and like Warren Sapp got ejected from the game for like something." He was like, "Yeah, I definitely remember that." So it was just funny to have like a guy playing with a guy my rookie year that I was watching the first ever NFL game I ever went to. I'm like, that's kind of weird that's how long you've been in the league. But
Yeah, he's managed to a tight end to stick around for that long.
Do you remember anything from that game, like from him specifically as a player, or do you just remember that he was there?
I do remember he was there because my he lives in Florida, so he's like a Jags fan. So he was obviously saying stuff about him. But I was growing up, I was more of a basketball guy, to be honest. So I wasn't really that that much into the game. I just remember when obviously the little scuffle started happening, because obviously you see that you're gonna pay attention.
Yeah.
Well, now people are probably curious then who's your basketball team, because I'm not a big basketball person, but I don't think there's a team in Iowa. So
like
correct me if I'm wrong.
Team?
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but I'm a LeBron guy. So wherever he's at, that's where we're at.
Yeah, Zach will appreciate that.
Right.
Yeah, Bron or MJ, you know who I'm going. He's still playing. That's my answer.
Thank you, Dominique. Thank you.
No
Zach is a Lakers fan, so.
And I'm a Bulls fan.
My dad was born in LA, so he's a big Lakers guy too.
Me too. There we go. I want to stick to the topic of tight ends here. You kind of we talked about it earlier. You blowing up Cordell Patterson on that kick return. It's that play on special teams, like for undrafted guys that are trying to make that impression that just stands out. It all starts on special teams. Like that's really where you leave your mark and kind of like I said, leave that impression. But what would you say like your best area would be like on offense? Like an H back, or I know LaFleur calls it an F back, I believe. Or inline tight end, or just kind of like a do-it-all type of guy, because I know Josiah Degara, he's still kind of rehabbing that ACL injury as far as I know. So you could be tasked with a bigger role going into training camp, So how would you describe yourself and your skill set?
I would say that honestly, the H-back position would probably be the most perfect way to describe me, I guess, because there's a lot of like the versatility you have to have. You're in a 3-point, you're in at fullback, you're in the wing, you're sometimes out wide, you're sometimes in the slot. Like I feel like that's just the best description of myself, just a person who can and will do whatever's asked. Because like I'm the fact I want to be here so bad, and again coming from that free agent, undrafted, like you just kind of have to have that mentality that just whatever you want me to do, like I'm gonna go out there and do it.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, because you're in the ideal offense for that. Because that, like I said, that is a staple for what Matt LaFleur loves to do, as you know, obviously.
Yeah, I mean that's what a lot of my circle here has been telling me. Like they're like, you couldn't have fell into a more perfect role at the perfect time, and just like that role, that position was literally made for you. A guy who's obviously not 6'7", I'm not running a 4.2 whatever. Like that role was literally made for a guy who's 6'2", about 245, and who can do all sorts of things.
Yeah, obviously very excited to see that next year.
Oh yeah, definitely excited to get back.
He does. I wasn't just imagining that, right? He does call it an F back.
F back, H back, yeah.
Oh well, now.
Oh no, this happens all the time. You can make fun of him for his bad Wi-Fi.
It's okay. My Wi-Fi here is not
Yeah, but
I can't tell if he's
freeze
back
up?
or
Did
not,
my
or
thing
if
freeze
he,
now?
yeah.
yeah, just for a minute.
Okay.
But you're fine.
I thought we were gonna lose you
freaked out
again or
for a
get.
second.
Yeah, but speaking of just that role in the Packers offense, I mean, there's so many different places Matt LaFleur puts versatile players, which you are. And here, I mean, I watch this play all the time just because Brian Burns, who's been great, you just spin him around, and this whole play seemed to have been a breakdown of some kind. Rodgers ends up running with it. You don't make that block. Who knows exactly what ends up happening to 12 right there? He probably gets a clean shot in a really bad way. So I mean, do you remember that play in specific coming across the formation? And there was clearly some breakdown between Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones, and you kind of saved his ass right there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think I do that a lot, like just the cross sift. So I remember I had like 3 or 4 of those that game, and yeah, I remember because it was a run to Aaron Jones, and then like made the block on him, like stayed with it, and then like I was pumped because we got a first down, but then I look and saw 12 get up. I'm like, wait, why were you running? So I was like really confused, but I'm like, I mean, we got a first down, so who cares? Like, I honestly had no idea what was going on behind me until we watched the film and realized that there was kind of like a mess up in the play. But I'm like, I mean, shoot, it worked. I guess we can put it in the playbook if it works.
I think Aaron. Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
Oh, sorry. I think I was going to say the same thing you guys were. I was going to ask if you ever found out what that mishap was, because we had we hypothesized on the show, like we watched that clip and we looked at the coach's film and stuff, and we tried to be like, oh, what were they doing there?
I think it was just a miscommunication between Aaron and Aaron, like because I mean everyone was doing what they were supposed to do. I think it was just a minor miscommunication.
I was just going to say, I loved the reaction from you. Like, whether or not you knew who at the time got the first down, your excitement, like not really seeing if it worked or not, and then turning around and seeing the first down. I love that.
I mean, I was more excited that I honestly made the block. I just I don't know. Coach J.O. just always talks about how he loves when we just have just the intensity of making blocks. Obviously we're not all going to catch 50-yard touchdowns or make 30-yard runs every time, but sometimes it's it's exciting to make a good block or just have a nice cross sift or get a pancake, and like just any type of excitement off of that. That's kind of just how our tight end room works.
Yeah, when you work so hard to get to where you are, I'm sure even like celebrate the little things, and I think also even when you celebrate those little things, it adds that little bit of momentum to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just watching, like Jen said, whether you're blocking someone, catching the ball, the excitement you bring, and I saw Aaron Rodgers said this about you, and in your practice before getting elevated to the roster, saying, "quote unquote," he's made so many damn plays in practice. He's really been incredible. So just having someone like Aaron Rodgers backing you up, talking about you, getting you some snaps, and obviously your first career catch, first career touchdown. What kind of confidence booster is that when you have your number 12 backing you up, wanting you on the field?
I mean, it's definitely brings a lot of confidence to just go out there and perform. I mean, obviously you want all your coaches and all your teammates to like trust you and believe in you. So obviously to hear him and Devontae and Coach LaFleur speak positively about me in post-game interviews and whatnot, obviously like that kind of, it was good to hear for me. I obviously just like those are the people you look up to, like to hear Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams like share positive things about you. Like that's kind of, it was like made me smile for sure, because I'm just like just happy to hear that they're happy that I'm their teammate.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, yeah, you've made it clear that everyone on the team should be happy you're their teammate, because you're just, like you said, versatile, making impact on special teams and on offense. And it's been amazing. And I think Jen had this question about a hashtag in your Twitter bio which is
yeah.
#be great. Is there any special meaning behind that, or is that just something you go by, just trying to be the best at anything you're doing?
To be honest, it's kind of me, but at the same time, that's just something me and my dad always talk about. It's just, just the mentality of like, we're going out here to be great. Like every time you step in the gym, every time you step out of practice, like that's what the end goal is. We want to be great at everything we're doing. We're not here to just be adequate or just, just be there going through the motions. Like you're doing everything to be great. So like, that's just kind of the mentality that we have when we go at anything.
I love that. I love that little bit of, just kind of something to center everything around. Like when it's I'm sure it's chaotic as a NFLer. So to have that simple little phrase, I'm sure means a lot, especially one that you share with your dad too.
Mm-hmm.
Before we kind of cap this off, I think we have to end this on a strong note, on an important note. Justin Lehman's question here in the chat.
Yeah, I was
Can you pop
wondering
that
the
up?
same.
Okay,
It's been nagging me. Yeah, I mean, when you're driving, when you stop at Quick Trip in Green Bay, or you're driving around Iowa, you need to grab a snack and a drink. What are you going for first?
Well, the drink is usually just water, just one of the big smart waters, just to stay hydrated. But then to eat, I'd probably grab a couple waters and then either a big bag of M&Ms or a big bag of sunflower seeds.
Zach's an M&M person.
I am an M&M person. What kind of M&Ms?
Peanut M&Ms to be exact. Of course.
Okay. All right. Okay.
That seems like a unsure M&M.
Well, because I mean they're not the best, but I mean they're still pretty good.
There's too many M&Ms right now.
I personally think the mini M&Ms hit different, but that's just me.
The mini ones in that little container, like from 15 years ago. When I used to get one of those, would be
they do have like a different taste then, like a better taste. I don't know what it is.
How do you eat those one at a time? They're like
no, you don't. You put like 20 in your hand and just
you
pop
honestly
them in.
just eat the whole thing.
You just gotta
that
drink
tube that they come in. You just open it up and dump it in your mouth.
That's like Valentine's candy that you get like in second grade, pretty much, and just devour the whole tube. Yeah. But nah, peanut M&Ms are definitely the go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're candy people around here, so
definitely peanut M&Ms.
Yeah, I'm all for
peanut sunflower seeds.
See, I don't like peanuts as much in my candy, but I'll still eat it. I'll get over it if it's there.
Right now. Got a big old bag in my room from Costco right now.
Yeah, Jen, we assume you'd rather blue cheese with your chocolate than peanuts, but
I knew that was coming.
It always comes back to blue cheese. I don't put it on everything.
Well, kind of make it seem like you do.
I don't like take a Hershey's bar and dip it in blue cheese. I'm not psychotic.
Just the thought of that is rough. It's a thing about.
That's nasty.
It's definitely not something I would try at home. If anyone does, though, hit us up on Twitter. Let us know how that went.
Sounds like a punishment for. Maybe that should be Zach's punishment.
Yeah, Dominique. Last week we played some Jeopardy. Me versus Zach. Jen was the host. I won. It was a tiebreaker. I will give Zach. I mean, it was a very tight game. He lost. He's been thinking of a punishment. I think a Hershey bar with blue cheese on it is the perfect punishment. Zach, I
had a more embarrassing punishment, but I didn't. I mean, we could talk about Zach's Dafney impression and make him do that as his punishment. But
the Daffy impression?
Yes, when you did your
Daffy Duck?
Daffy Duck in honor of Daphne.
We're not going to talk about that.
We should have Eli pull it up quickly.
Yeah, if only I don't have it. I should have had it saved, ready to go because that was.
I'll have to send it to Daphne. I'll tag him in it later.
When you find that, definitely send it to me.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, no, you got to see it. It's pretty great.
Because he was trying. Because you did you were doing impressions, and then later on in your show, you were talking about Daphne, and I was like, oh, because people associate Daffy Duck with you, obviously, just kind of with the name being close enough. So I think anybody who's watching who remembers that, it's probably the greatest 2 seconds in open book history.
No, I don't think nobody remembers
I think a ton of people remember, and if not, Jen will remind them later on Twitter. But yeah, speaking of Twitter, before we head out, Dominique, where can everyone find you on Twitter or any other social platform that can give you a follow and check what's going on through your off season?
Twitter, ddaphne24, and then Instagram is Dominique.Dafney.
All right, everyone, you heard it there. Go give Dominique a follow. Thank you so much for taking the time, coming on the show. It's been awesome, and we obviously love seeing you join the Packers mid-season last year, and now we're looking forward to more years to come, and obviously coming home with the Lombardi Trophy next year, as opposed to maybe the way things ended this year. But again, thank you for coming on.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Appreciate you taking the time. Yeah.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and have a great off season, and yeah, we'll see you soon, I guess, in training camp. Hopefully, as long as everything happens.
You're welcome back anytime.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, we'll see you, Dominique.
Peace.
Yeah, that was Dominique Dafney, everybody. It's awesome to have him on. We have to thank Jen for hooking that up, by the way. So thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Jen.
I know Zach's mad at me now, but I could not bring it up. I'm sorry.
You just threw me under the bus and ran me over like 5 times back and forth, and you reversed several times. With that bus.
But guess what?
Yeah.
He'll see that video and then he'll probably remember you forever. So
yeah, probably.
He'll have a
he'll go show his buddies like, yo, look at this guy.
Yeah.
Just in an interview with him. You'll get me back one day, I promise.
Oh, I will. Don't worry.
No, we will. I mean, we'll talk a lot about moves.
I have to be a couple steps ahead because of the way you guys talk about like attacking me in the group chat.
See this? She acts like she gets put through the ringer by us. Like
I do.
Card. It's unbelievable. If you could just say the word moose,
I just get full on.
Have this problem,
I did say moose on a show. I did say.
You said what?
Yeah, you think you're saying moose, but you're saying some other language that
you could have had me say it when he was here. That would have been a team player, but opportunities passed.
You know what? I should have asked him if there are any moose in Iowa. I feel like that's a very moose place, like corn and moose. Isn't that like?
Probably have more bison. No, you don't just see moose walking around in cornfields. Like
yeah, I'm pretty sure corn and moose are related.
No,
very close.
I think you need to study geography. I don't know what that would be.
Yeah, definitely geography of moose. Yeah,
I don't know. Don't make that face at me. Environmental, whatever. I don't know.
That's even better. Yeah, environmental, whatever is one of my favorite.
Study
subjects.
it.
Yeah.
You guys were still live. You know that, right?
I know that. Yeah, which is, by the way, where we were just about to end it off.
Sometimes I don't know where the show cuts off and where the post-show conversation begins.
Real quick, there was some amount of news during the show. Tom Silverstein, Packers reporter, he said expect the Packers to have interest in Kyle Fuller. So that's something to keep an eye on. And
I guess we could finish on, you just want to like rapid fire everything that happened?
Yeah, I mean, just real quick.
Read off that fun list.
Yeah, for anyone that missed it, number one, I mean, we kind of mentioned it, but Jamal Williams, Tim Boyle, Corey Linsley, all of you, your time in Green Bay was highly appreciated. We're going to miss you. Wishing you all the best. Even in Detroit for Jamal and Tim, we're wishing you nothing but the best. And Montravius Adams actually signed with the Patriots. By the way, I know we're 4 years in and it's been basically nothing, but he was always someone I really liked and felt like if he was able to stay healthy, he could have turned into something. But very classic Bill Belichick turns him into a player now in New England. But
Lawrence Guy 2.0.
Yeah, exactly. But some more big news around the Packers, or was around the Packers. Tramon Williams, officially after 14 years, is retiring from the NFL. One of my favorite players ever. I know one of Jen's favorite players. Zach, you'd probably prefer Greg Jennings or something ridiculous. But
Oh boy.
Tremon, yeah, we love you, and we just wishing you a nice retirement, and you've earned it because you've killed it. Yeah, for the Packers, for the Cardinals, for the Browns, anywhere you've been. Yeah, enjoy retirement. But other than that, that's basically it for the Packers. Right now, we're seeing what's going to happen in free agency. I think as Packer fans, we all know probably not to get our hopes up too much for any kind of move, but
I think after Aaron Jones, like our hopes can't be too high. Like something big happened. So
he was our
everyone
free
relax.
agent, we signed a big free agent. That's how you got to look at it.
Yeah.
And for an amazing deal too.
Yeah,
Didn't
that
break
can't
the
be
bank.
overlooked. It was a ridiculous.
Yeah,
deal.
am I wrong? I mean, is his only guaranteed money is that $13 million signing bonus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, they pulled off an amazing deal, but also obviously Aaron Jones, as they said, that they probably could have gotten bigger offers. I'm almost certain they could have.
And I don't think we talked about, because this happened after our show, but Preston Smith's coming back. So
Yeah. That's
part
true. We took the pay cut after last week's show.
So everybody who thought he was going to be gone, don't be a dill hole and make sure you cheer for him.
Yeah, don't be a dill hole. But yeah, look, for a pay cut, I think we all agreed that for a pay cut, I mean, you could do worse than Preston Smith because it's not like he's a liability.
If he's your third guy coming off the edge, I mean, if Rashawn Gary's getting more snaps than him, then you're in a good spot. You know, all four guys that they signed in free agency 2 years ago, they all restructured their deals. You know, so it's not like the Packers have been sitting on their hands. I get it. We see all these tempting names out there. You see all those wide receivers, and you see other teams making these moves, and everybody wants the Packers to do something. But realistically, I mean,
you don't want to do too much when this team made it as far as they did.
Exactly. There's no reason to, I don't want to say press your luck, but just do more than you need to. I mean, especially when you consider the fact they were over the cap in double digits up until like the end of last week, up until like Thursday or Friday, I think. So, you know, the expectation was that they wouldn't be able to do anything. The fact that they re-signed Aaron Jones is like a goddamn miracle.
Yeah, all those, like, shout out to everyone who restructured. So Za'Darius, Amos, obviously a couple pay cuts, but like Dafney said, they want to bring their guys back. So keep that locker room happy, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, as Aaron Jones said, running back. I mean, and people kind of take it for granted because he's been on the team, but you needed to look at Aaron Jones as a free agent, which he was at that point, because he didn't tag him. He was going to be a free agent, and they brought him back, which no one expected. Brought him back on a good deal, and as I said, as good as Aaron Rodgers was last year, winning the MVP, I always thought that just the engine behind the offense was getting the run game going, and that starts with Aaron Jones. So it's a big deal. So don't overlook that just because he's a re-sign as opposed to a new player.
And we're on the second day of the new league year. There's no guarantee that the Packers are just not going to sign anybody. Like I'm adamant that they're going to not rebuild, but they're gonna supplement this roster through the draft. They're gonna get a couple of corners. I mean, they drafted 3 receivers in 2018. They drafted 3 offensive linemen last year. They could get 3 corners, you know, through with all the picks they have. And I'm sure they'll draft a receiver at some point. They're gonna bolster their offensive line. They're gonna stock up for the future while getting guys that are gonna be able to help them win this year. You know, I mean, you can do both. And
what?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I know, it's far-fetched. And, you know, you see Tom Silverson saying things like, you know, they're interested in Kyle Fuller, and we know they signed him to that offer sheet a few years back, you know, before he re-signed with the Bears. So, you know, for all we know, maybe Brian Gutekunst has been talking to Ryan Pace. You know, maybe he knew that Kyle Fuller was going to hit the market. They were going to part ways because they were in a shitty cap situation too. So, you know, we have no idea.
Look, there are still plenty of guys out there. You know, it just happens to be it's been the first couple days. Packers haven't made a signing, and people are going to react the way they're going to react. But there's still a ton of names out there that.
And if these guys sit long enough, maybe price goes down. So
yeah, either way, it looks like the market is down overall. And for anyone talking about the cap and all that, like they're expecting massive increases to the cap with these new TV deals that were just announced today. So I think there's still plenty of time for the Packers to make a move in free agency. There's still a ton of guys that would help this team for sure on defense, and even at receiver, there's still a couple of options left. Maybe a center. I know that some of the bigger name ones were signed, but I think David Andrews from the Patriots is still out there. There are still guys out there. Goody said in his press conference 2 weeks ago that they had the ability to make a signing if they needed to or if they felt that it was the right fit. So trust in Goody is what I would say. We have plenty of time. There's still guys out there, so don't just give up on any kind of signing.
Like, if you would have watched Miracle, like Herb Brooks says in it, I'm not looking for the best players. I'm looking for the right ones.
I don't know. I never.
I'm sure that's Goody's philosophy.
I'm sure Goody took that straight from that movie.
100%.
Yeah, but
I saw Zach roll his eyes at me, but
I didn't roll my eyes. I just looked away.
I just looked up and down and around to the
and
side.
all around.
Yeah.
Just looked in the other direction. That's all.
We thought we were going to make it through one episode without Miracle coming up. That's all. Me and Zach had a bet, so I won the bet.
Eli, you told me you'd watch it. You guys had a bet?
No, we didn't.
Oh.
But, I did try watching it, and I was sabotaged by Netflix, and that's a fact. I have it on video. Netflix, if you're watching this, you stopped from watching Miracle. So, Jen, that's who you need to blame. But everyone who tuned in to watch Dominique come on, which was, again, awesome, and we thank him. We thank you all for tuning in. As you see at the bottom of the screen, you can follow Zach at It's Zachariah J, Jen at Big Mac _4, and myself at Book of Eli _NFL. But that's it for this week, for free agency week. Hopefully next week, maybe we'll be discussing some new signings. We'll also be looking at some more draft prospects next week. But everyone, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.
Surveying, fires, that's